Chicago qualifiers for, well, I guess the first time. I've never had IEM Chicago before, but
My first time, anyway.
hopefully quite a few more to come. Anyway, this is the Asia qualifiers. We seem to do quite a few of these, don't we, Ian, here from the studios in Sydney. But looking forward to this one again because it's been a little while, I think, since we cast Asian CS, so
What
be
was
exciting.
What was the last time we did it?
Probably Sydney qualifiers, I think, would have been.
Oh, for IEM,
Yeah,
of course.
yeah,
And
IEM
then
Sydney.
before that would have been ROG Masters, maybe.
ROG Masters,
Would have been
potentially.
as long.
It's been a while. But yeah, we like to have a look and see how all these teams are developing and changing because there is always quite a bit of changing when it comes to the Asian region as far as the rosters are concerned.
Yeah, I mean, like, no scene is immune to it, is it? I mean, you've got, no pun intended, but
No, I was wondering about that.
there's obviously our scene constantly changing, and there was a time when even the Danish scene was known for it. So that's before they all started taking the Counter-Strike drive.
Taking it seriously. Yeah, anyway, let's talk about what teams we actually do have in this qualifier because that's always interesting, I suppose. That's what you're here to see. Now, there is the important thing to note here that obviously you see Tyloo in that qualifier, you're like, great, they're probably the ones going to Chicago. Well, they're not because they've forfeited.
They would have been good odds.
Unless I guess maybe they would play their lower bracket match, maybe? I don't know. I don't think so. I think they're out. I think they're done.
Word on the street is they've
Word-
forfeited their first match.
They forfeited their first match. I don't know whether that means they're going to be later on down the competition or not.
Yeah.
It is a double elim bracket, remember that? So they could come through the lower bracket, but I do think that they've just forfeited entirely. So the rest of those teams are now sort of licking their lips, thinking maybe we're going to be the ones to go to Chicago.
Well, I mean, the Chinese teams are definitely still in with a shot.
Yeah.
And then you've got SC Absolute, which everyone seems to love to get on the hype train for. And then you've got, obviously, MVP. I mean, they're going to be the favourites if Tyloo do
I
drop
would say
out.
so, yeah.
They're playing with their coach for this first game, though. So
That's what I'm told.
it's a little bit strange, but it's if you're them and it's just TNC, I'm not sure the situation around it. You'd still be pretty comfortable with going with MVP. But then obviously you've got, once they come up against the other teams, the likes of Flash and Boot even, then I think they might be in a bit of trouble.
Yeah, definitely. I look at that and I think it might be MVP, might be
They're
Flash.
good, right? But they're not gods.
They're not, definitely not. Well, to be fair, like there was a period for maybe about a month or so
when they
where
came down here and they were looking amazing.
I thought MVP might even be better than Tyloo for about a month or so.
Yeah.
And that was just after Zion kind of joined the roster, and,
Yeah.
and that sort of seemed to be like a great honeymoon period for MVP.
Well, that's what it was.
But things have kind of fallen apart
And
since
that's
then.
what it was, wasn't
Yeah,
it? It's just
yeah.
a honeymoon period. Then Tyloo went through that downwards peak, I guess, or whatever, the trough.
The Valley.
The trough,
Yeah.
because of Mo's injuries and
Yeah.
whatnot. And that could have been a good opportunity for a lot of teams, really, to get above them. But Mo's back now, and man,
Yeah.
back with a vengeance as well. They've been on hot form.
Absolutely. They had a great run at Shanghai. I thought they would have a good chance against NRG, which incidentally they didn't necessarily, but it was definitely a good run, a good deep run
Yeah, that
from
was
Tyloo.
very surprising.
That they didn't go so well against NRG?
Yeah, because like that's what Australian teams tried. The way NRG play is the way the Australian teams have historically tried to match up against Tyloo, and it hasn't worked.
Yeah.
Like the RNG of Tyloo was just too much, but NRG was able to put them down, which was impressive.
Well, I'm sure we'll get to see more of Tyloo later on
Maybe
down the track. Maybe not in this qualifier, maybe not at Chicago, but they'll be around for a while. Anyway, let's have a look at how the bracket is going to shape up for today as well. As we've said, Tyloo have forfeited their first match, which is going to put Made in Thailand through to, I guess, the next round of the bracket. But they'll be potentially facing Flash Gaming and 5Power, or 5Power, I should say. Which I think would be a tough game for them, regardless of who gets through from that match.
Yep.
Then you've got Boot Dreamscape versus SC Absolute. That's going on the second stream.
And I think that's going to be a cracker of a match. Could go all three maps. Could just be a 2-0. It depends which, if those two teams show up.
It's hard to say, isn't it?
I think Boot and MVP now are your favourites for this bracket.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it always tends to be Boot, Dreamscape, and MVP that meet each other in these kinds of qualifiers in the Asia region, so we would expect to see that.
And props to Boot as well. I mean, I remember back in the day where you would say, Rekka is the team.
For sure.
And then Boot just come out of
Well,
nowhere.
Boot, like if you remember the first time that we went to ROG Masters in Malaysia, which would have been 2016.
16 would have been 16.
And Boot wasn't really on the radar at that time. Like they were around and they were playing, but we were talking about...
It's just another Southeast Asian.
Exactly, we were talking about like the likes of Mongols and that kind of thing, which is obviously disappeared now.
Even 5Power was around back then as well, but it was like, that Mongolian mix lineup. And so I mean, look, they've really ascended. They've improved over time, and they've done the dream basically.
I would say they're probably fairly solidly within the top 3 of the Asia region.
They've been beating Tyloo. They've been beating everyone. So they're like, they were the dark horse, but now they're on everyone's radar.
Yeah, definitely. So for us today on this stream, at least to start things off, we're watching TNC Pro Team, which is a team from the Philippines, up against MVP, who everybody should be aware of. We'll sort of think about what maps we might get to see here in, because well, if we know one thing about this matchup, we pretty much know we're going to be seeing Inferno.
Yeah, well, I mean, even that, you would say you want to see Nuke if you're MVP, but if you're TNC, you'd be crazy. We always talk about MVP's Nuke. Sometimes they let us down.
Yeah.
We say they're so awesome on Nuke.
Well, we say the same thing about their Inferno as well, to be fair.
Their banana, their awesome banana control. Like, yeah, of course. So yeah, Inferno, Mirage, Cache, whatever the Aussie meta was at once, it seems to have transferred across to them. I don't see them as a massive overpass team.
No.
Cobble was their big deal. That's gone. Dust 2 maybe.
Well, that could be a bit of a curveball, I think, from TNC. Probably.
I don't think they will. If you're MVP, you're just like, okay, well, Cobble's gone.
Yeah.
We'll improve something. It won't be Dust 2. I don't think.
No.
So I don't think anyone's going to really play Dust 2. Maybe. I could see Ty Lue playing it.
What about SC Absolute? Laz Unleashed.
Yeah, well, you're right.
Interesting.
No, Laz could do a lot of damage. I believe they did play it. I believe Laz played it at Shanghai.
Okay.
I believe SC Absolute played Dust 2 at Shanghai.
Well,
so they're probably the only team.
Let's let the mysteries be answered and have a look at the vetoes here. What we're going to get, Nuke and overpass the vetoes.
Yeah.
That Nuke veto was what you said you expected, so it's going to be Cache and Inferno. And MVP apparently don't want to play Dust 2.
Yeah, MVP also really good on Train. And so, okay. So, all right. They're never going to play Dust 2.
This is classic Asia CS as well, by the way, for anyone that doesn't necessarily watch too much Asian Counter-Strike. Cache, Inferno, Mirage, they love it in that region. We see it time and time again. I wouldn't be surprised throughout this entire qualifier if we're going to see 3 or 4 best of 3s that have this exact map pool.
And that's half the problem for us. As Australians, when we come up against the Southeast Asians or the Asians or anyone from the region, it's like, well, you have the exact same map pool as us, so the veto is, we can't get a win there.
Yeah.
And so that's why they come down to such nail-biters. But anyway, it's all about Asia here.
Yeah, definitely. So just having a look at those two, I mean, MVP, we don't see them play a huge amount of Cache, at least it's not like they're one of their go-to maps.
It's not one of their go-to maps.
They will allow it through, but they would probably prefer it to be Mirage, Inferno, and Cache here, I think, if that was the order.
Yep.
I think that would be a little bit better for MVP, but I still think this is a 2-0 on paper. I don't think TNC Pro Team are going to have much.
They are good on Cache, I'll tell you that now. MVP are good on Cache, so it's not like their 4th map or 5th map. It's like their 3rd map, I think. So
yeah, but it's not going to be, it's not their Nuke, it's not their Inferno, so...
I still see this as a 2-0.
I would agree. The thing is, though, like, we don't know so much necessarily about TNC Pro Team. Like, you and I have been casting. We have cast a lot of Asian CS in
we don't
the last
cover
couple of years.
TNC.
But I've never seen TNC before.
I think we have. I think we've seen them like once in like a ROG.
I think they would have been at ROG Quals.
Yeah,
but
that's
we would not have cast that game.
No, you're right.
So they're a bit of an unknown here, and purely based on that fact, I'm going to have to give it to MVP here with the 2-0.
Yeah. Also, just because of the region as well. Like, if you're not from China, if you're not from Korea, and you're not from Indonesia, you're not really in the top. So, I mean, they could surprise us. MVP starting the CT side, though, that's good and it's bad, I guess, for TNC. MVP using their coach as well. I expect a really strong CT side from MVP. So, it's up to TNC here to come out of the gates like a bull.
Yeah, definitely. So, TNC versus MVP. Well, I mean, look, this should be a comfortable victory for MVP, really. The thing about MVP, though, is that time and time again we see them in these kinds of qualifiers.
About this, wasn't I?
Yeah, and they don't kick it into...
I don't have, like, a good metaphor for it, hey?
Yeah.
Like, there's no nice way of saying, like, they just don't care.
They start slow.
Yeah, they just... they take it easy. They've got some sort of Aussieism. In the time they spent in Australia for the Zen League.
Yeah, they've been here a couple of times.
They must have picked up some of our Aussie, like...
lackadaisicalness.
Laziness.
Yeah.
Aussie laziness.
Yeah.
Like, she'll be right.
She'll be right.
Leave
We'll get them in We'll get them in the lower bracket final.
Yeah, or even we'll get them in the end. You know,
Yeah.
like we see it with AUNZ with Chiefs. Like, they do enough to get across the line, and sometimes it will come down to the line, and that's when they really fire up. So.
Yeah.
A bit of a frustrating team to watch, I guess, as a fan.
At times, yeah.
But yeah, look, I think these best of 3s, Asian teams are just going to start getting sick of playing all day. Because
that's the thing, isn't it? For MVP, like, potentially, if you were to drop into the lower bracket today, like, if you lost this match, the team, let's say, I mean, in this case, it's probably TNC. If you're TNC, you play this match right now, and then you have to wait for the next best of 3 to play played out, and then you play your lower bracket match. So It's
no one wants that.
You don't want to be.
These guys already play so much CS. The amount of teams that sign up for these qualifiers just to get to this point, it's insane.
I would assume TNC. Yeah, TNC was one of the teams that came through from the Open qualifier, which was played yesterday. So they would have been so Myth and TNC are the two teams that came through from the Open qualifiers.
No surprises there.
Going up against Tyloo and MVP.
Yeah.
So they've played through I don't know how many games yesterday.
Well,
but
you can just imagine.
Probably
right?
a lot.
You can just imagine.
If you remember, like IEM, I think it was Oakland qualifiers. We were like Mongols, and I think even Chiefs played in that one.
Yeah.
It was the Mongols that ended up winning, but we looked at that bracket and there was like 30 teams in there, and it just went forever.
Well, the Chinese qualifiers historically, like way back when, used to have like 100 teams, and so you'd just be when we were doing MSI Beat It with Vox Eminor, like 2014. You'd just be in awe of like how much Counter-Strike the team Tyloo played to qualify. It was just insane.
Yeah, so again, that's probably the case for these teams that have come through from the Open qualifiers. I guess if you're in the closed qualifiers, you have a bit of an easier berth, but even still, like we've got 6 matches of Counter-Strike today, at least as far as the broadcast is concerned. All best of 3, and that's just the broadcast. There's more matches going on that we're not broadcasting.
Yeah.
Then there's going to be another 3 tomorrow, and then there's another 2
you just like
the next night.
Now is not the time for MVP to have a rest.
No.
You just want to get this over with. You want a 2-0 if you can.
Yeah. The other thing to note for MVP in this match is we haven't talked necessarily too much about their situation with the coach.
Termi?
Yeah, they're not going to be playing with their full core roster. I'm not sure who's actually missing out today, but Termi apparently is standing in for somebody. Not sure who.
Not Tyloo.
Not Tyloo, somebody. One of the players of MVP.
Probably. Oh, it's not.
Okay.
So it could be anyone. Yeah, it could be anyone.
Yeah. Well, and HSK has now left the team as well for MVP. I can't remember the name of the team that he's on. Gosu? He's on Gosu now.
Yeah.
And they're not in this. They didn't qualify. They were playing in the qualifiers yesterday.
I saw that.
But they didn't get through. So HSK
Lost
out of that roster.
They didn't lose to Flash.
No, Flash wasn't playing in the Open quals. They would have lost to either TNC or Myth, inevitably. But yeah, interesting that HSK would be the one to leave that roster, because I thought he was generally pretty
good. The Headshot King?
Yeah.
He was
Is that what it's meant to say? Is that what his name's meant to be?
I don't think so, but damn, he was good, right?
Yeah, he was.
Sign now, I mean, he's got to step up.
The thing about it, though, is like HSK was sometimes inconsistent. Like, he could be the game winner, but he could also
I think it also came down to, from what I understand, it came down to the roles.
Yeah.
And he was the primary AWPer, and I think Solo wants to go back to
Oh, does he?
Yeah, I think so. So that's the reason behind that.
That's interesting. I mean, I always felt like HSK had more of an impact than Solo did with the AWP.
But Solo was like the clutch god. So
but he was still the clutch god when he was rifling.
Yeah. But I feel like that was when they really threw things out the window as well. Like, that's when they were just YOLOing a little bit.
Yeah.
And that playstyle really didn't net them any big results. I mean, they almost fell completely off the radar for a bit there.
Well, until they picked up Zion, they were going through an absolutely shocking period. If you remember Zen season, was it season 1?
They were Virtus Proing of the Asian region.
They smashed season 1 of Zen. Like, they pretty much had an undefeated season. I think they might have lost 1 map or something like that. Then they come to the finals and they just get utterly decimated by it. Kings and Tainted Minds, I think, were the teams that they played.
Yeah.
And they went out in 4th place when we were kind of pegging them as the team that should win.
ended up winning, and that's when everyone was like, oh, Bentet.
Yeah.
Yeah, well,
that was the start of Bentet.
That was just like, who's this guy? And then he bags out his team on
Yeah.
stage. Like,
they need to do better.
They need to stop making so many mistakes when I'm gone if they're going to win.
Yeah. I mean, a little bit of that was executed as well, I think.
Yeah. Well,
if you remember.
Mean, who would have saw that coming?
I did.
From the humble...
I was saying...
What?
I was saying... Since...
From the humble beginnings of Rekka.
Since I watched Rekka play in Zen Season 1, I was like, this Execute kid's got something. And then everyone was talking about Bentet, and I was like, look at this Execute guy.
Oh,
He's
really?
pretty good.
Oh, okay. All right.
You can go back and look at some VODs.
Maybe. I mean, I definitely won't. But, so, Termi's in. Who's missing? Put you under the pressure. Said the name before.
Zeph, Glow, Termi. Oh, it's Zion. Zion's missing.
Yeah.
That's bad. For MVP.
That's bad. Look, Termi's no slouch.
No, but Zion is, I would say, MVP's best player.
Yeah, well, you know, gone are the days of Perry as well.
Perry and Glow.
Yeah.
Glow's still there.
Yeah, Glow's still there.
Zeph's still there.
The Perry Nando's King is gone.
Yep. So, retake setup for TNC on A.
Yeah, pretty standard, isn't it, really? We see this really often, but this is a slow retake. 1 defuse kit, no Molotov to prevent anything on the site, so the plant gets down straight away.
Yep. And Baby Boy, who I understand is the manager for TNC, also stepping in here. Standing up, gets the first kill onto Mini, but MVP now really starting to have to deal with this retake from TNC Pro Team, and they're doing that quite nicely. However, a couple of quick kills do go back the way of TNC, but when all said and done, that bomb is ticking far too quickly for Wintrust to get anything done. Glow will shut things out in the end. MVP come away with the pistol round, so that's not a bad start for MVP, but there was some decent shots hit by TNC there, so count them out just yet.
Yeah, I mean, if there's anything you can really say about a lot of these Asian teams from the Asian region, I guess, is it such a heavy aim-based region. Like, you just can't be a slouch in the aim department. Like, in some of the more tactical regions, like, I feel like regions like the Ukraine, stuff like that, a lot of their teams, you can get, there's 1 or 2 superstar aimers, but the rest are just tactically sound, like, you know, and get the job done other ways. But no such joy if you're from like the Philippines or anything like that.
Or Solo's going to find a bit of a meal waiting for him there in Z Connector, but he's made a cake of it as he's gone straight back into the sightlines of Baby Boy and Wintrust. Both of them with Deagles shooting from short, or shooting from A into short. Does obviously go a little bit better than the SMG. So MVP with a player deficit, going to be rotating their way over to the B bomb site here. A couple of players, but good Molotov, good utility use out from MVP here. They've got the smoke down for tree room. They've got the Molotov to force the player out of position on site. Borkum can't help Kenzie out at all, and now he's just biding his time on the site. Glow will go down, but straight away a trade from Termi. Zeph as well gets another one. Zeph actually on the flank, or I suppose on the lurk at the moment in mid. He's going to be able to shut down the rotation of 2 TNC players, which is going to pay dividends. Witz has been spotted. He's picked up a Galil, and he'll get rid of Termi. So that puts a bit of weight on the shoulders here of Zeph, and he can't get the job done. Wintrust closes it out. Great work from him with that Galil, and finds himself an AK as a reward.
Well, that's a bit unexpected, but this could be the MVP that we know and despise.
Yeah.
Just taking it a bit easy there. And you'd be surprised with a coach playing. You'd think you'd be a little bit more tactically sound, a little bit more, precarious going into those anti-eco situations. But a map like Cache, it's bloody impossible sometimes to prevent getting ecoed. It's got such good crossfire potential, and unless you really clear everything out, it's can really catch you off guard. You go in 1 by 1. That's couple of Deagle kills or CZ kills as we saw, and it's that 3 versus 5 that's almost impossible to come back from without some individual brilliance.
Well, let's see what MVP can do here now with their own eco. CZs and armor.
Did you know MVP will be at Zotac?
Yes.
And they're going to be versus Virtus Pro first. So speak of the devil, just as I mentioned.
Yeah, that's interesting actually. I feel like that's a winnable game for MVP.
Yes. I'm actually just going to
Depends. I mean, it depends how MVPs go. I guess.
I'm going to check if it's the Snatchy MVP. Because, he's just recently joined.
Yeah.
Over Morals. But yeah, I mean, that's an exciting match. If you're from either South Korea or anywhere in Asia or Australia, like, get behind MVP, I reckon.
Yeah, I agree. They're going to be making their way into the A bomb site. Solo will lock down mid just a bit. Papachulo does get a couple of kills, and really, if Mini doesn't get the one onto Baby Boy, which he's not able to, this round is not going to go the way of MVP, you would think.
Don't say it, Jordan.
Well,
every time you do.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. The AK's out here for Solo.
Touch King.
And he's in a bit of an off angle. Borkum did spot him out, however. And he's going to need to get that bomb down sooner or later.
A lot of respect for Solo here from TNC. Got the 2 flashes as well. You're going to let him plant. Solo knows what he wants. He wants that 1v1 before he plants.
If he had a grenade here, that would be the dream. But
okay.
I don't know if he's going to be able to get the plant down now. TNC will drop. And Borkum now looking for the trade, but he can't, and that's going to allow the plant for Solo. Very smart play from Solo, and now he just needs to navigate this 1v1. Tough ask for him, but if he gets the timing right, he might just turn around. Oh, Borkum whiffs the shots, and now there's a chance here for Solo.
Far out.
Not quite going to go his way, but...
When Borkum missed that first burst, I was very worried for him.
Yeah.
But he's turned it around, and nice work. I mean, a bit of pressure. You can see they gave Solo a lot of room to work with as well. Not sure what was going on with the 2v1, how that was meant to be playing out in their minds, but Solo nearly does it. And
Nearly.
Well, I mean, it's what we come to expect from Solo.
Yep.
But, again, a lot of damage to the TNC economy as well. We talk about that a lot. Just the one player surviving is going to leave them with not much utility on a couple of the players. Even Kenzie just going for the UMP just to able to have that, the Molotov flashbang combo, just try and keep the T's at bay for a little bit longer. And what is this buy from MVP, Jordan?
It's just another force.
It's everything.
It's
mate.
the no respect buy.
It's the new gun round, especially when the MP5 comes in. Get ready for that.
Yeah, that's true. Very much looking forward to that, actually. Variety is the spice of life, so they say. Although, I suppose if the MP5 comes in, maybe we won't see too much variety at that point. But utilities out into the B side here for MVP. They have checked Kenzie. That's a good start to the fight for MVP, but they still need to clean up the site, and they have managed to do that. Player coming across on the rotation from the vent went down as well. And MVP are making this one work. At least for now.
Oh, well, that did a whole lot of nothing. Termy's going to hold the vent with the Mac 10, so that's good. But I don't think he'll get to see much action. Mini Zeta, he's the new guy on MVP. And, well, I was looking forward to seeing him play alongside Sign.
Yeah.
See what they could really achieve maybe as the Smash Brothers of South Korea.
Not the case, at least for this match. Maybe Zion will be in a bit later. Not sure where he is or what he's doing, but retake coming out now from TNC, and it's going to be all on Termy with a Mac 10. Papichulo does have head armor, but that doesn't matter because he's only got 60 HP, and he runs straight into that Mac 10. Another round on the board for MVP, so confidently they continue to force buy into those rounds, and, well, they've managed to pull one back in their direction. We're at 2 apiece.
Yeah, so that's going to be brutal for TNC Pro to come into this round with absolutely no money at all. They're just going to have to scrape together whatever they can with their pistols and try and get another eco win. But really, they didn't really make the sunshine while they had it, because just the 2 rounds for them, considering one of them was the eco, and then obviously MVP, that force buy was pretty tragic, and TNC need to be able to hold those off. You put it into context, once MVP get a hold of the rifles, then TNC is going to be in real trouble.
Yeah, absolutely. That's what we're going to see in this round, as TNC are just going for a bit of a scenic route around the map. Solo's going to need some backup here, but there's absolutely no one that can help him out. And that's the second time now that we've seen Solo fall prey to a multitude of enemies in mid where no one's really been able to back him up.
Feels also like TNC sort of setting Solo up to fail as well, like they know what he's going to be doing. But the B-bomb site left completely sparse of any defense. And, well, that'll be just another bomb plant for MVP. So if you're in TNC Pro's position right now, you really want to keep that AK alive on Kenzie. Even a couple of the CZs next round, because you're not quite sure on what you're going to be able to buy. Or if you want to just go, wait until you have, you know, AWPs, double AWP maybe, something like that. So they might even eco again yet.
Yeah, well, we don't actually know what TNC is likely to do because we haven't seen them play before. So the double AWP, yeah, possible, I suppose. I'll be most interested as to how...
It's expensive. It's an expensive way to start a half.
It is.
But
does that show you like maybe a little bit of a sense of unconfidence?
Unconfident?
Yeah, I'm not sure what the word is. Inconfidence?
Yeah, it's just uncertain, I guess. But
yeah,
they're... it's just one of those things.
lack of confidence probably would be.
Yeah.
But anyway,
They're
actually
unsure of themselves.
Yeah, I'm actually more looking forward to seeing how the AWP is going to play around for MVP because obviously no HSK. Solo generally was quite a solid secondary AWP when HSK was in the roster, and a fairly solid AWP before HSK was in the roster. But he's going to pick it up today. We have yet to see. It's just been rifles so far, and he's been making them work. Like I said, I thought Solo was actually fairly stable with the rifle, so...
yeah, basically...
Strange roster change.
T-side cash is very 5 AK nowadays.
Yeah.
You know, you're really stretching it if you're going to have an AWP. I think we saw that recently on the AUNZ cast we had. Who was it? Sicko? Sicko had an AWP and wasn't really able to get anything done with it, right? Like, what do you do if the CTs aren't running at you? You can't really entry with an AWP these days. So... Yeah. It becomes a little bit redundant. It's great on the preventing retakes, but for the T side, 5 AKs getting in and getting the job done and trading each other out is seemingly like the ideal meta.
Yep, a lot of mobility. That's what you want, I suppose. Hit those sites hard and fast.
Mobility, agility, everything. You can really mix everything up then, yeah? You're not stuck in your ways.
Yeah. So this time it's going to be a mid play for MVP. Haven't seen this one just yet. Obviously, Solo has been exploring mid quite extensively for the last few rounds, but it's always been on his own. This time, everybody executing out on mid, and now split on A. As TNC just fall over on the A bomb site. MVP having absolutely no problems at all. Mini fully flashed out, will go down. Ooh, that's a good shot hit by Borkum. And MVP picking him one by one have now given him the opportunity to actually clutch this one out. He's going to run straight back through the smoke. I think he might have spotted Zeph out there, not so
No.
sure. Zeph certainly spotted him.
Lack of head armor again will be the undoing. Just the M4, it's what it's perfect for. If you pick one up on the T side and you're feeling confident, well, the CTs know they got to buy head armor after that. So, but that was a pretty poor buy by TNC as well. I felt like they could have maybe gone for a better rifle selection.
But that was another round where, like, you look at MVP, like, if they were against Tyloo,
Yeah.
they're not going to play that post plant like that.
Absolutely, exactly. But I'm just saying TNC having a UMP and from us and etc. Like, get your ducks in a row, mate.
Yeah.
Like, you want to have the M4s across your entire team. You want to have an AWP by your first gun round. They've kind of fallen into that false sense of security because of what how MVP were playing so loosely and probably feeling like they could get a lot done. So, I don't know. You could credit that to MVP, but I mean...
I still think MVP is playing quite loosely.
They are, exactly right. But that's why TNC are going for those buys.
Yeah.
They won one eco and they just feel a little bit overconfident.
Perhaps they do. Has been their undoing in a sense, as now they're back onto an eco.
Yeah, and you know, what's the point of ecoing if the next gun round comes and you're still on a UMP or a FAMAS? They're not great weapons long range, and that's what a lot of cash is.
Certainly not against AKs.
No, or your own M4.
Yeah,
as they learned last round.
Termi having a bit of a look here. He's not going to have too many troubles against Borkham, but the trade's there from Kenzie. I don't think he's going to last too much longer, though, as he's been flashed out, fully white, can't see anything. Zeph knocks him over. With the bomb down on the B bomb site for MVP. Baby Boy and Papi Chulo.
Papi Chulo.
Papi Chulo.
Wonder what chulo means.
Yeah, probably could be something. It could be anything, really, couldn't it?
Yeah. Chulo.
Sound like something that you would hear in the Philippines too often.
Yeah, I think it is. Papi Chulo. What's he? Is he like a gangster? Like a, you know? I don't know.
Yeah,
I'm gonna look it up. I feel like it's something like a dog or something. You know? Like
yeah, little chulo.
Puppy dog.
Could be. Have to hit up David.
Yeah. Yeah. Ah, here we go. Cantonese? Pretty.
Pretty.
Oh, well.
Papi Chulo meaning cool daddy, cool guy.
Ah, see?
Okay.
Daddy cool is Puppy Chulo.
Awesome. Daddy cool. There you go. He's definitely not having a great time so far. Obviously being down 5-2 against MVP, not what you want. Maybe MVP changing the pace up a little bit here. Glow looks like he wants to just have an aggressive peek into that A-bomb site, but thinks better of it. There is an AWP now in the hands of TNC. MVP not aware of that just yet. And again, it seems like it's going to be that A split for MVP. Take control of mid, knock over the player on short.
Oh.
Mini's getting so much work done. 3 kills for him.
Wow.
And Glow will shut down Papi Chulo as well. And that just leaves Borkham after a flurry of frags from MVP alone. Thinking, what on earth has happened on the A bomb side? And he peeks around the corner. Solo just takes his head off. What a change up from MVP.
That just looked cool as well. From Mini Zeta's point of view, the recoil control was perfect. And taking down all 3, considering one of them is Wits with the AWP, who could have been absolutely devastating for his position. It was just fantastic work.
Yep.
You hit every shot you don't take, I guess. Wait. No.
Miss every shot you don't take.
Well, not if you're Mini Zeta, you just hit every shot.
Yeah, MVP, they're going to be very pleased with that. And TNC, it's just compounding the issues.
This is painful to watch now. Poor TNC. Every time they get on guns, they're getting manhandled like they're on an eco.
Yeah.
And the eco just seems to drag out because MVP have to take it a little bit more serious than the gun rounds.
Yeah, take it a bit slower, make sure they don't get overwhelmed on a side or something like that. It's not been easy going for TNC, which, to be fair, is kind of what we expected. But the thing for me is, like, whether MVP is going to keep up this pace, whether they're going to continue to get rounds on the board so easily, or if in similar fashion to some other qualifiers, they're going to take their foot off the pedal and slow things down, and all of a sudden then we're sort of like 16-14 and MVP finally closes out Cage into now's time.
Yep. Well, the thing is, I thought MVP were going to start on the CT side as well. So this is just even more outrageous that, you know, you're starting on the T side. It's the favored side. The T side is always great because you get to set the pace and, you know, build your own momentum. And so everything's looking bad for TNC right now. And they're just getting reset like they are as well.
Just slow progression into this A bomb site from MVP, making sure that they use all of their utilities, the smokes, the flashes, Molotovs.
Yeah.
They're not leaving anything to chance in these ecos, and that's really, really good to see. It's a good early sign for MVP in these qualifiers.
And that's another thing as well. It takes a lot of balls to sit there and just let the Ts execute. When you're on an eco, you feel like you've got to do something. You know when the smokes come in, you've got a rough idea of where the Ts are going to be coming from. You feel like you're getting pincered from every direction. You feel like you've got to make a move, and that's where a lot of the, the lower teams die, because the Ts are running in, and that's when the CTs are making their move. What MVP did there is they executed, and then they let TNC bake and just, walk into their aim late, feeling like they had to do something. So
First semblance of hope for TNC now.
Yep.
They have the double AWP, and Witz has been able to find an opening frag onto Termi, who was just a little bit too eager to be pushing up the B halls.
That's exactly what you want your AWP to do at B as well. So, and he gets away for free. No trade. Termi's all on his own. Happens quite often if you're the B player for the T side doing the B main control. You're an absolute target. And you got to remember that. Sometimes you can get a little bit complacent thinking, yeah, I got a free ride here at B. They're not peeking me.
Yep.
And then one day you'll go there and there'll be no smoke.
But there's something different, again, out from MVP in this round. They're going to be faking the A bomb site. 2 players over there, hoping to draw a rotation and allow the bomb into B easily.
Jeez, this is a huge fake as well. They've really committed to it.
Yeah, if Zeph or Glow is able to get a frag here, that's going to be huge. And that is going to be the frag I'm talking about. Puppy Chulo will go down. Zeph still on the side, but Borkum, he's going to put this all to bed for MVP as he wraps around. He's anchoring the side. He will go down to Mini Zeta, but there's not enough work being done on either the A or the B bomb site for MVP. And it looked like it was going to work for MVP, but it just took them too long.
I don't know. It was a huge fake. Like, they were really trying to sell it. They were trying to sell Ice to the Eskimos there with 2 players in the site, and for some reason TNC didn't budge. And I think that's maybe because the MVP fake was like, it was too good.
There was too much happening, but there wasn't enough, if that makes sense.
Oh, for me, I feel like it was like, there was a lot happening, but TNC aren't the team that rotates straight away. Like, TNC didn't read the signs. They weren't like, oh, they're executing on A, they're in A. They didn't see any signs, but the signs were there. So, like, it's not underestimating, but maybe overestimating your opponent.
Well, regardless, the round has gone the way of TNC, so definitely a good read. And Borkum, with the bomb, gets spotted as well.
Borkum's looking like the star of this team at this point anyway. Or the JKS. Just getting the frags.
He's going to need some backup here because this is the area that MVP are going to be keen to contest. Borkum needs to be aware that mid was dirty and just wasn't quite prepared for someone to be dropping out into checkers. Will get shut down by Mini Zeta, so the bomb is quite easily retrieved by MVP. Termi with such a forward position here in Tree Room, not necessarily going to hear. Well, now he is. And he's going to swing out and take down Baby Boy quite easily indeed. Kenzie can't do anything now. And MVP, once again, they're going to reset the economy of TNC.
I was expecting Termi to pick up that AWP maybe a little bit sooner, and maybe just seeing whether he was going to stick with it. But it looks like now MVP are happy to have the AWP on their T side. They've got 7 rounds, turning into 8. Kenzie again, just trying to save an AK into the next round. Still has all his utility. You got to feel for him. He's holding the A side. By the time he gets to B, it's too late. And now he's just got the tough job of trying to hold off a couple of MVP members. So yeah, they're not too fussy. They've got a lot of money in their bank.
No, I don't think MVP's bothered at all by this.
No. Termi will keep the AWP. That's all that matters. He only had 3K. Now, as you can see, everyone's a bit rich. Kenzie's gonna farm up some stats. Everyone wins.
Except TNC.
Wow. Yeah. Except the team.
Yeah, AK in the hands of Kenzie. That's the linchpin for TNC in this round.
Yeah, look, he was linchpin last time they were eco as well, and he saved the AK, so we'll see. Ooh, very close, Mini Zeta. So the AWP's going to go on to Mini.
Yeah, that's new.
Yep. Solo obviously has his job towards A main or getting boosted up. So the AWP, not really useful there. Termi finally has a bit of support. Mini Zeta's going to watch to make sure he doesn't get poked. But again, we know that TNC aren't on an AWP. The A main control smoke is there for him. So now that Termi's in position, Mini Zeta can rotate across. And Solo just, sixth sense, just knows, maybe I'll just check Borkum mid. You know, Solo's been hitting mid every round, so he's got a pretty good lay of the land. And again, these are slower than the gun rounds, Jordan.
Yeah, it's... I think it kind of makes sense.
Yeah.
For MVP.
Yep.
Maybe they have a better read on what's actually going to occur in those gun rounds and how the setup is for TNC than they do necessarily on the pistols. Because it's a bit more unpredictable when it comes to the pistols. Especially when there's an AK somewhere. So MVP trying to figure out where that was, and Zeph has, unfortunately for him, figured that information out, being the one to go down to it. Solo, again on his own in mid, gets taken down. That's the third time. This time at least a trade from Termy. Something that MVP needs to be aware of, though.
Well, it's a 3 versus 3, and they're meant to be anti-eco, so it's already harder than their gun rounds.
Look at Wits. His
Yeah.
position a little interesting here. The bomb rotating, 20 seconds to go.
Yep.
If Wits can somehow manage a kill onto Mini Zeta, which it looks like he might, this round could well be over. There's only 10 seconds left. Nobody from MVP is going to be able to get that bomb. And with that kill, Wits has secured his team around.
I don't know what's going on, Jordan.
MVP special, dude.
It's the MVP special, but at the same time, you know, Solo was getting the job done in middle. 3 guys, he sees it, you know, the AK and A, and all of a sudden MVP panic. Pretty weird. But otherwise, who cares? You're MVP. 8 rounds. TNC have just got another opportunity to get their money reset now. Have they spent everything? Oh, they've spent quite a lot. They didn't really leave much if they do lose this round. So that's a bit of a cause for concern for them.
Oh, wow.
Beautiful, Kenzie. That's a big kill as well.
Well, you get punished for missing that shot with the AWP. Let's see if Witzerino is similarly going to be punished. A good flash from Borkham leaves no chance for Solo to get anything done in the B halls, but he's crept out onto the B bomb site. This could be huge. He knows where Witzerino is as well. Don't know if the AWP is going to be able to stop him at this point. There is a trade from Borkham, but in the meanwhile, Zeph's got something done over on A. B bomb site. Now, the rotation coming across from TNC. So, MVP, they're going to commit to the A bomb site. It's not going to work out too nicely at all. They line up for Baby Boy. Kenzie is there on the crossfire, and TNC shut down that time.
Baby Boy, Daddy Cool. What are these names? The Philippines.
Papichulo.
Yeah, but that was a really nice, I guess, defense for the A site, just single-handedly there, with Baby Boy just dodging the Molotovs as long as he can, and MVP just caught with their pants down a little bit, maybe just a little bit complacent there. And obviously lining up for Baby Boy. So nice work, TNC. You've prevented your money getting reset. And this is going to be the last buy round for MVP. Given if they lose this round, well, then the next round will just be, you know, your typical CZs if they don't get the bomb down.
Yeah, once again, we're in a situation where a half is looking great for MVP, but in the end, it might end up actually just being 8 and 7.
Yeah, exactly right. And they were looking so good, so in control. The 7 rounds that they won were bloody dominant, but the 5 rounds that they lost were actually pretty shocking. So
yeah.
it's an interesting map so far. Full mid control coming out for MVP once again, though. Let's see if they can use it wisely. They just need to get, yeah, they kind of afford to get caught in movement. That's where they've really been their downfall. But this is another clear and decisive gun round for TNC. Probably, I would say, your TNC 3 versus 5. B is very hard to retake on a good day.
You can't really buy next round if you don't save here.
Exactly. So, okay, another buy goes the way of MVP quite convincingly. And it's that lack of mid control. I feel like TNC have left mid open far too much. They haven't really adapted. And that's where they've been losing their gun rounds solely on the lack of mid control. And then it comes to their ecos and they're just so damn good. So what do you do? It's just, I wouldn't be surprised if they're just scratching their head as well. Like, what do we need to do? Well, it's going to
MVP
be
on the hunt a little bit.
Yeah, it's going to be hard to save as well because MVP had already had half the map by the time the bomb got planted. Anything good on there, Jordan?
No, nothing too interesting.
Classic.
But this is going to hurt for TNC. They're not going to get a buy through in this round. If they would have had those 3 guns,
and
you could have.
Look, MVP knew it as well. Like,
Yeah.
let's not put the mocker on them. They knew exactly what they were doing there. And so MVP might have just guaranteed them the 10th round. When,
So,
okay.
30 seconds ago we were talking about 8-7. Now we're talking about 10-5. It's just, it's really a backwards and forwards half.
Well, I mean, yeah, you're dead right. It's been absolute domination in the gun rounds. A couple of weak anti-ecos. 1 or 2 bad gun rounds for MVP. And now, because they weren't able to save those 3 guns, it's lack of mid control again for TNC Pro. MVP just coming up, abusing it. And Baby Boy, you know, start adding them up. Where's Kenzie now?
Here we go again. We're on that wild ride.
I mean, this is Asia, really, isn't it?
It is Minizeta. He's going to go down to Witzerino. So 3 versus 4. And MVP still look like they want to commit to this A bomb site, which is their undoing. Zeph finds Witzerino, though. That's very sharp indeed. Borkum is spotted by Termi. So, what can Papachulo do? The answer, not a whole lot. Coming out from the smoke. Quite an easy frag for Zeph. So, what was a dangerous looking situation has now calmed down a little bit. Kenzie with an AK. Let's not count him out.
No, I'm going to count him out, Jordan. I'll be the devil advocate this time.
Okay.
Usually I'm telling you don't count anyone out. Anything can happen. But it's Solo and Zeph in a good crossfire. Very difficult situation for Kenzie to win. Now, again, somehow Kenzie has managed to hold on to all of his utility. But shot from the back, it's not going to be of any use. So 10-5, beautiful T-half. Standard T-half for MVP.
Yeah, I mean, it could have actually even been better than it was. But
absolutely, yeah.
All in all, 10 is pretty good.
It's one of those weird halves. You win the pistol round, you know, you expect 10-5 to reflect that, but the 10-5 is all gun rounds, and they've lost 4 anti-ecos, and they lost 1 decent gun round. So, pretty crazy. Classic Asian CS with the CZ, just too strong for these guys. They're just masters of the weapon.
Yes, MVP roster not shaping up too badly, at least to start these qualifiers out. And I'm sure
they're rising to the occasion, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, we'll see them later on down the track as well. That's what you really are going to get interested in as to what sort of a peak MVP is going to be able to hit
with
in these qualifiers, especially with a stand-in. Maybe
I reckon
it's only going to be today. Maybe
yeah.
Zion's back tomorrow.
Yeah.
Which would be obviously fantastic for...
look, I don't know enough about Zion's personal life to understand. Like, if it was an Aussie player, we'd be like, oh, he's got this, that, or the other.
Yeah.
But who knows what he's got on in South Korea? Probably some sort of family engagement or something like that, or who knows? Well, all I know is he's not in hospital because it would have been on the news, right? A bit of a Mo story.
Yeah.
But that's good.
That's definitely good. Yeah. That's a start. All right, MVP. This is not looking like a bad start to the pistol either. Look at that. 4 players stacked into the A side. And TNC certainly have a bit more presence toward that side of the map.
No pressure, Solo. You just hold B.
Yeah.
Like, no pressure.
He'll be fine. He's got a smoke.
Yeah, you're good, man. Long range, pixel angle.
Well, the idea for Solo is that if he sees anyone, he's just going to get the heck out of there.
Yeah, damn straight.
So throw that smoke down.
This is where ideally... Oh, the waterfall off mid. And anyone watching it? No. So, okay, look, tell you what. If TNC go mid to B through CD spawn, they're gods. But let's just see what they're doing here. They're waiting for aggression from MVP, but look, if you know MVP, they're just the sit in the corners team.
Yeah. Doesn't look like it's going to be the mid to B here for TNC. Borkum going to line up
I think I've got this.
Ooh,
I've called it early.
Oh, no. It is going to be the mid to B. Okay. Flashbang down.
Is this a counter strat? It must be.
Oh, well, Solo might not be too keen on this at all. Solo gets all 3, and, well, it was the mid to be, Ian, but they weren't expecting Solo in that position, and that has just completely shut it down for TNC. Maybe it was the counter read from MVP. Solo in perfect position.
Well, the
perfect shots hit.
The smoke over the roof does give it away, but, like, still, Solo is an absolute monster, Tom.
My name's not Tom.
But, I mean, living up to his name, what a... Yeah. I mean, he's a god. I mean, he'll always be a god, smashing some, you know, poor Filipino guys, but still, he's earned it, right? He's earned that respect throughout the years of Counter-Strike. So, beautiful work from him. The 3 kills in that situation.
He drops the AWP over to Mini as well.
Yeah, literally carries the team through that round.
He's gone glass cannon UMP. In order to throw the AWP to Minizeta.
I mean, look, it's early days for
the AWP. Can you believe it?
Yeah, no, it's a bit early for the AWP, mate. Like, what's going on here?
Well, I suppose it's not going to matter too much if MVP will have this round their way, and certainly seems like they are going to.
Yeah, on top of that, Solo actually boosts Glow up into Shroud. So
what a support.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez.
Doing it for the boys. He's like, all right, guys, I have my fun. My name might be Solo, but I like sharing the limelight.
Yeah, definitely. Jeez, that's definitely not the way you want to start the second half if you're a TNC pro team at all. Pistol very, very cleanly the way of MVP, and then a very, very clean anti-eco
They got the bomb
well.
down, didn't they? I mean, that's good enough.
They did get the bomb down, yeah.
So, at the end of the day, I mean, you can always be grateful for that. The small things.
It's getting to the point now where you can't be thinking about that. You need to be thinking about getting rounds on the board.
Okay, now you do. Now this is your opportunity.
This is the last chance really for TNC. They need to start off with this first gun round.
TNC can't afford to take any risks and lose. And so they have to sit back. They can't fight this mid-control coming out from MVP. They just have to let it happen. And hopefully have the opportunity to take it back later on in the round. The mid-control smoke coming out as well from them. This is the exact opposite of what TNC were doing on their CT side. Absolutely no contention of the A site at all, but there's no way for TNC to know that.
Not yet anyway. TNC not really getting much information anywhere at all. Like, there's no one in B halls. There's no one that can see anywhere into mid. Squeaky's really the most forward position that they've got right now, but that only gives you so much.
Ooh, Papichulo. Thank God. I had my hand over my face. I was expecting the worst.
Well, I was certainly expecting Solo to find that kill as well, but I was going to question why they threw the UMP player up there as opposed to someone with an M4. Maybe with an M4, it would have been a kill, but not the case this time.
It's a close range situation anyway, so that's potentially why.
Yeah. Zeta, so far today, hasn't been that impressive with the AWP. Admittedly, haven't seen too much of the AWP.
Did you see his AK, though? You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's what I'm saying. Where's the AK right now? When the AWP was dropped in the last round by Solo, who had no armor.
Well,
why not just pick up the AK?
That was a bit of a flop with the AWP as well. It didn't hit a thing. So,
yeah.
All right, okay. TNC showing us what they've got. And like I said, they couldn't take any risks. Really, they didn't take many that round. No. They waited for MVP, penalized, not a mistake, but some aggression.
Wow.
Got a little bit lucky, but yeah, I know, yeah.
Double AWP, like we've got no armor at all for Mini. Zeph's got no head armor.
This is, okay, it's officially the slippery slope, Jordan.
This is it, yeah. This is the MVP. Oof, well, Zeph is going to hit some good shots, then maybe not, but...
Well, he doesn't have his wits about him anymore.
Oh my goodness me.
Are you alright, Jordan?
I'm not sure what's going on. Is Termi going to smoke off the AWP and try and gather it again? Yes.
Step up, coach. Oh, you don't. You want to throw it to Solo. Yeah, you saw it coming a mile away.
Get your UMP back.
I would get rid of that UMP, Termi. MP9 is where it's at. That
You're
thing,
an MP9 fanboy.
Yeah, it's just... Oh, I'm hot for the MP9, I tell you that much.
Oh, God. Keep it in your pants, Ian.
Well, I don't know. It would probably fit.
There's not much else down there, is there? So
absolutely.
Lots of room.
I could do with a buttstock. You're gone. It's already started.
Okay. Double AWP still there for MVP. So, where are they? That's my question.
Well, they're on the
One's
CT
in B.
side.
One's on A.
Well, Solo's gone done.
Solo's very, very defensive.
Yeah, he's moved out of mid. He's moved out of the vent. He's gone to the correct position that he needs to be in for this, 4-on-4 situation. 2-2 with an AWP splitting the sites. I don't know. There's a lot of utility being used here by TNC. I feel like they're just going to fall back and go towards B. So now they really need Borkham to flex some muscle on the A site. Otherwise, Termi's never going to leave that box. And now Solo's on the move. Yeah, perfect move there. They catch Termi out.
Oh, no, they don't. And Solo's there to back him up. So it's all falling apart for TNC. Double AWP works out. MVP, these really weird force buys. Working time and time again.
No utility to smoke off CD spawn. Solo smokes off B main before rotating. MVP just crossing their T's and dotting their I's perfectly and catching TNC with not sloppiness. Yeah, with some sloppiness, I think. Jumping out of the vent, catching Termi in the open, and then everyone just going straight for Termi. Need to think about other things. You know, the devil you know is better than the devil you don't. So knowing Termi's in that corner means you don't need to check it straight away. Look everywhere else.
Well, a rush out onto the A bomb site from MVP, or rather from TNC, has already been shut down by MVP. Most importantly, Glow getting those 2 initial frags does allow everyone else on MVP to settle themselves in on the A side.
That's a little bit better, eh? For an anti-eco from MVP. But I mean, putting the brick wall up on the CT
There wasn't that much to the eco from TNC. That was the difference that time. Yeah. They just rushed the A bomb side, and I think for MVP, that's just where the instincts take over.
Just putting the brick wall up, though. You know what I mean? Just putting a stop to anything TNC are even thinking about. Just get the round over with TNC now. I've got a decent buy. Kenzie on the UMP. Obviously lost AK privileges from all those saves on the CT side. But apart from that, same as what we've seen every round. Glow going to get boosted up onto Shroud. so much precision.
Oh,
Can't
yeah.
afford to
Precision
make
gameplay, dude.
Can't afford to make it move. All right, Baby Boy, he's making a lot of noise towards middle. He's about to get peeked by Solo. Why would you pop one vent and not the other? It's all about asserting some dominance there, Baby Boy. You can't just be in there and, you know, playing scared.
Well, it's time for TNC to really show us what they're made of now as they pop flash through the smoke on the A bomb site. Glow's only good for one there, but Minizeta still by quad. And great shot hit by Puppy Chulo. Does give them a chance here, but the next frag absolutely must go the way of TNC. Smoke down, will allow the bomb to be planted, and the grenade not doing too much damage, but Puppy Chulo has been smashed by Solo.
Yeah.
And it's all on to Kenzie now in the 1 versus 3. Smoke down to negate one of his angles that he can peek. And MVP just going to rush through the smoke together, looking for that trade. They're not going to be able to quite get it. The third shot, not quite there for Kenzie. It really looked like he was going to be able to do that.
Absolutely. It looked on, didn't it? But, you know, I think he got a little bit bloodlust. He just wanted that frag movie reel. And unfortunately, Solo's not the man to try that stuff on. And he's going to punish him. And, yeah, look, Puppy Chulo did a lot of work there, I think. You know, to get into the site, very important frags. But once that bomb gets planted, the Molotov comes down. You still need to find a way to get out of dodge, but at the same time, just be a little bit safe. You know, if you're the CT, that Molly's gone down, the T has to move. You're waiting for him to come into your aim. Puppy Chulo needs to think about that.
Yeah, map 1 is potentially going to be a quick one here as match point is already up for MVP.
Yep.
Got to remember, this is also TNC's map choice. We're moving on to Inferno, which is a very scary prospect when you're going up against MVP.
Yep.
They seem to be feeling it right now. They've got the confidence. Solo pushing through the smoke in mid.
They've got us back on schedule, that's for sure. Let's see if they can keep us that way. Otherwise, the MVP that we know, anything we could see some weird stuff from here on in.
Yes. Anything can happen when it comes to Asian Counter-Strike. But already an advantage here for MVP. Solo needs to be a little bit careful, but gets himself back through that smoke, being backed up quite nicely by Minizeta. So TNC can't even really clear out Solo easily at all. Whips a bit of the spray there, but he does manage to survive, and that's really what's more important. He's in that smoke right now behind MVP, and he gets the USP out, gets Wintrust before going down. And Solo has picked up 3 kills in the round. Borkum on his own in a match point scenario now, or map point scenario, I should say. Definitely a tall order ahead of him here.
Well, he was a bit of a superstar on the CT side, so look, I wouldn't be too surprised if something amazing happened, but as I say,
that was pretty amazing.
How you doing there?
MVP's going to close out map 1. Keish going their way, 16-6. I would say that's even more of a confident scoreline than I would have actually predicted.
I would have probably gone around that, but then I would have factored in.
You would have factored in the MVP that we know.
The MVP.
It's kind of hard, isn't it?
It is indeed. But look, I'm glad it's over and done with MVP. Obviously, with playing with Termi, they just want to get this done.
Yeah, definitely. So. New addition Minizeta, we haven't seen him play just yet. Well, obviously we have.
I haven't seen the real Minizeta yet. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't know if that was, you know, like a massive standout performance in my mind.
No, I mean, the AK, the 3K with the AK, that's going to go in a highlight reel somewhere.
Definitely,
but
that was
apart from that, we didn't see anything
Well,
else.
we've still got more time to potentially see a few more. We're going to be moving on to Inferno next. That is the map choice of MVP PK. Definitely a good map for them as well, so they're looking good to close this series out 2-0. We'll find out after the break.